Hello and welcome along to the match. It's been a pretty good week, hasn't it, after Real Madrid earned their first away win of the season at Rayo Vallecano on Monday night. They followed that up with an 8-0 thrashing of Colombian side Millonarios in the Santiago Bernabeu Trophy on Wednesday evening. So things looking pretty good heading into the weekend fixture at home against Deportivo La Coruña. Pleased to say I'm joined once again by Tim Stannard from 442 magazine. Tim, welcome along.
Thank you very much, a pleasure to be here.
Two good victories for Real Madrid there.
Yeah, very useful victories as well, especially the one against Rayo, and so a strange week as well as an exciting week, which began with 2 trips for me to Vallecas to try and see the Real Madrid game at around 10:30 on Sunday night. Just the players didn't know whether they're warming up or warming down, but that game got played on the Monday, and I'm going to say a hard-fought victory against Rayo. And then in the Millonarios, again, it was a pre-season friendly, but actually came at a very good time, I think, for Real Madrid. Pre-season in the sense of the season started 2 weeks early, which meant he wasn't able to play it. So playing it now, and yeah, 4 or 5 matches in, it was a good chance again for some of those players like Callejon and Kaká, who maybe hadn't seen as many minutes as they'd like, to get a whole game under their belt and get some form back. And of course, the chance for some of the youngsters as well to get some minutes out on the Bernabeu. So as it happened, it was a very morale-boosting victory against the Colombian opponents, who Jose Mourinho himself said, actually, they're normally a bit better than that.
Yes. Well, I mean, it was 8-0. It probably could have been into double figures,
Yep.
really. Kaká was absolutely brilliant. He scored a hat-trick, and he looked like he was, close to back to his best.
Well, yeah, he needed that one as well, and Jose Mourinho afterwards said it can't do any harm for some of these players, and I'm going to put Kaká and Callejon in the same group to say, hey, I'm still here. And yeah, it is a busy period of games coming up. So it certainly hasn't done his chances any good of getting a place back in the team. I'm not sure it's going to be starting soon, but certainly on the bench, maybe getting some minutes. Who knows, maybe even against Deportivo. He certainly looks sharp.
Yeah, he's certainly in the boss's thoughts, also, Jose Mourinho said after the game. All 22 players who were called up for that match against Millonarios featured at some stage. The last man to come onto the pitch was Michael Essien, came on and played 10 minutes. Now, he's featured in the last 2 competitive matches as well, against Rayo Vallecano and Manchester City. In fact, he started both of those games. He's proving to be quite an important signing.
Well, yeah, for me, he was Real Madrid's best player against Rayo Vallecano. And I saw something very interesting in the way perhaps the defence normally would look at someone like Ramos or Pepe, would look at Xabi Alonso, give him the ball, give him the responsibility of setting up the play. They were quite happy, though, to sort of pinging out to Essien, who just kept the play going very nicely in supporting Xabi Alonso. He was playing advanced, he was playing along the back line, getting it stuck into defending, so an extremely versatile player. So tactically, he's just slotted in straight away, but he's a world-class, experienced player. And he really seems to be enjoying himself off the pitch well. He says that he's just liking going to training, getting to know his teammates, and meeting the fans. And I think he would have enjoyed the battles he's had, obviously, against Manchester City, good
yes.
Premier League style. And Rayo as well was a
tough away trip.
It was like Stoke,
yes.
that cold, wet night on against Stoke. That's what that one was, although he would have been a bit puzzled by the whole floodlights thing. It's like, well, welcome to La Liga.
Yes.
But he's settled in really, really well.
He has indeed. Let's quickly talk about Karim Benzema as well. He scored against Millonarios. He scored in the last 2 competitive games against Manchester City and Rayo Vallecano as well. He's looking like he's not getting confidence, because he's a confident player, but he's got those goals, and that's an important part of his game.
Yeah, just getting that sharpness back,
yeah.
I think, from the beginning of the season. It's someone perhaps who was affected by the European Championships, either through fatigue or mental fatigue, like a few others, and it's taken him a while to get back, and he's now got this great competition, as we had last season with Gonzalo Higuain. And I think Benzema is just looking very lean, very sharp, and there was a goal that was disallowed against Rayo where he was charging through on goal, and again, it was a lovely finish. It didn't count, but really impressive at the moment, Benzema.
Another player I want to pick out is Angel Di Maria, who's assisted 4 of the 7 league goals that Real Madrid have scored in the league. As we saw Real Madrid training here, I can assure you this was Madrid today. It wasn't the Philippines in the monsoon season.
It still is at the moment as well. This is one of those times when I'm glad I'm not a professional footballer, because I wouldn't have enjoyed that out there in the rain. You can see Sergio Ramos there. He probably loves it, I think. But yeah, Angel Di Maria has been very impressive so far. And again, I think he's one of those players that they're looking to try and get a whole season out of, because he has had muscle injuries and trouble with fitness. But again, looking really, really sharp. And the team is so different with him in it, just because of those little through balls he does. And as we saw him going down the wing and putting in a cross as well against Rayo Vallecano. And I'm not going to say underrated player, but one of those where you think people don't always talk about Ronaldo, maybe talk about Ozil,
yes.
and Benzema, Higuain, and sometimes Di Maria doesn't get mentioned, but he's absolutely vital. And the number of assists he produces for Ronaldo, for Higuain, for Benzema are crucial.
He doesn't necessarily score that many goals. I think it was only 5 in the league last season, yet to score in the league this season, although he did get a very important goal against Barcelona in the Spanish Supercopa. Would you like to see him score more goals?
Not really, no. I think his role is to set everyone else up. He doesn't get that near goal. When he does score, they're usually long-distance curled efforts because he's some 30 yards or so away from goal. And it's his role, really, to be at that range, to look for those little through balls through the defence, as we've seen him do so many times. So I would rather not have him shooting from that distance all the time. I'd rather have him setting up the other players.
Well, he would certainly be in my starting 11 for the match against Deportivo La Coruña. Let's see if Tim has put him in his starting 11, who Tim thinks is going to be in that side.
Yep, I think he's going to be in there, although there is a doubt perhaps if he has got a knock or something, we don't know yet. Maybe Kai Hon will play because I thought had a good game against Millonarios. I think we're going to see Modric playing in that hole there rather than Kaká or Ozil. Again, big games coming up against Ajax and, of course, a small match of the Clásico as well in a week's time. SCN, I think, just to get minutes, just to get rhythm back at the Bernabeu. Other doubt perhaps in the back four is going to be whether Quentrao will back after suspension. I think he'll be playing in the Champions League and possibly against Barcelona. Maybe get some minutes under his belt as well and get some rhythm back.
I suppose it is very important for Real Madrid to think about the next match against Ajax in the Champions League, but having such a big squad, this is where it really comes into play, isn't it?
It's not bad when you can choose for that role there. We see Modric playing, you can choose Ozil, you could even choose Di Maria, you could even choose Benzema or Higuain, or anyone who can play in there. It's a massive, I think it's one of the best squads Real Madrid have had since I've been in Spain, since I can remember.
Quick word about Deportivo La Coruña as well. They've just come up into the Primera Division after one season in La Segunda. Haven't made a bad start, but they usually get beaten when they come to the Bernabeu.
A solid start. And perhaps you said the quick word is better than they were when they got relegated 2 years ago, deservedly. They were a very defensive side under Miguel Ángel Lotina. It was a big club. People were kind of sad to see them go down. But sad in the sense of they sort of deserved it. They played very defensively, sometimes didn't play with strikers.
Well, you remember how good they were sort of 10 years ago, that wonderful, expansive football.
I branded them dull Depor 2 years ago.
Well, they were.
However, they're really good fun to watch now. They've got this attacking instinct back, and they've been scoring a few goals, conceding quite a few goals as well, and they're in mid-table. They're not really going to get anything out of the Bernabeu. I think they'll score, but I'd be pleased if they can stay up this season. They've got some good attacking players, and they're just a lot more fun to watch than they were previously.
Well, let's take a look at some of the other games happening in Spain this weekend and get Tim's predictions for what he thinks the results are going to be. Valencia against Zaragoza is a big one for Valencia.
Yeah, can I say I'm going to get some persuading to be done in the household this weekend, because all the games on Saturday look fantastic. Valencia have to win this one. Pellegrino's in a bit of trouble. Really bad start for Valencia.
Malaga against Betis looks an attractive fixture on paper.
This could be a real good end-to-end Andalusian derby, I think. So I think I'm going to pick Valencia for their one. I'm going to go for a draw in this one.
Real Sociedad against Athletic Bilbao is the Basque derby.
Yeah, a Basque derby. Neither side doing particularly brilliantly. So I think that was going to be another draw.
Barcelona travel to Sevilla, a tricky trip.
Yeah, the way that Sevilla are playing in the moment and the way that Barcelona are playing at the moment, despite being top, I think Barca are going to drop points, a draw.
Granada hosting Celta Vigo.
Yep, a midday kick-off to start things off. Cheeky home win for Granada.
Rayo travelling to Valladolid.
I think Valladolid are going to sneak this one.
Osasuna in all sorts of trouble at the bottom of the table, hosting Levante. On paper, a match that they would have thought that they could win at the start of the season.
It's a final, as they say in Spain, a must-win game. Osasuna at the bottom of the table, got to win this one, and I think they will.
Real Madrid hosting Deportivo, the big one for us.
Yeah, 3-1 win to Real Madrid.
Atletico Madrid are in wonderful form, flying high. They travel to Espanyol, who are second bottom, just 1 point from their 5 matches.
This is going to have at least 5 goals in it, this game. Well worth watching. Atletico Madrid to get the better of it, though.
And on Monday night, Mallorca travel to the capital to take on Getafe.
Getafe will be glad if their crowd gets into 4 figures on a Monday night. Then Mallorca, I think they're going to get an away win.
Well, you heard that from Tim. I'm not sure how many of the predictions he got right last week, but there are the ones for this week if you fancy following those. We had 8 goals in the Santiago Bernabeu on Wednesday evening for Real Madrid. Let's hope for a few more on Sunday night against Deportivo. From Tim and myself, it's adios.